Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm gonna do this is the first in my lead up to the new year. I have quite a few videos between now and the end of the year. I think I have a video every day from here on out. So, I might be missing one day. I don't remember. Anyway, it's gonna be a lot. I'm going to be talking about, like today I'll be talking about my goals for 2023. I'll do a little recap on 2022 of how I did, and then I'll have some lists of some books I want to read coming up of certain genres. I'm going to do the 23 books in 2023 list that'll come up next week. I also will have my new list for serious about series, which I am going to continue doing that. Cat, I'm just really, he knocked it off last week, as you know, so he'll knock the other things off too. Anyway, so the point is that I'm hoping to get all my the stuff for 2023 early, and then after the new year I will have all my wrap up stuff and talking about how I did for serious about series and my best, worst, and surprising kind of things will be in one video. And my last book haul will probably be on the 31st of this year. Hopefully I'll be done buying books by then. We'll see. Anyway, so let's talk about goals. So 2022, my goals were pretty simple, or they're the same one, kind of almost exactly the same ones I have pretty much every year. So I have switched it up a bit for this next year. So I do have my goals listed in my bullet journal, which I don't use that much, but my book journal, whatever. So I'm just gonna quickly run through them, and then we'll talk about my new goals. So in 2022, I had my Goodreads goal for 52 books, which is what I always put nowadays. Even though I know I read more than that, it's not a stress. It's more of a book a week. I can do it. So of course I completed that. I also put down 50 pages per day on average per month. This is just an internal goal for me. For many years, I didn't always achieve that. And so when I don't achieve that, it just feels wrong. Now I read a lot more. I just, have upped my reading, not just because of BookTube, but just later in life kind of things of activities and things I do and at work I can listen to audiobooks now. So it's a little higher now, but I always keep it at 50 just to kind of, hey, I still want to just read mostly on every day on average. So I don't always read every day. I would say it's very rare that I don't read every day, but it's just an internal thing. I always put on my list just because that's for me. Number 3 was to cull my books every June and December. I have done that. I did a huge unhaul this summer, or this fall. I had finally took all the books in that I'd been keeping for the last 2 years, and got a lot of credit. This December I did a little bit already. I might go through, I'm going to go through my books over this weekend, this holiday weekend, to start getting, figuring out my series. Like I want to make a series spreadsheet. So, and I don't know if I'm going to do a list of every book I own, but I want to get to the series that, to see what series I have open and which one. I want to find out I don't know how many series I'm in the middle of. And I know it's a lot. So I want to do that. So I'll probably cull as I go. But anyway, so I do keep to that. Number 4 is limit library use. I was supposed to only have 5 or less out from the library at a time, and then only 5 on hold. And I did really well for half the year, and then the second half of the year that did not happen. I let myself get up to 20 on holds, and I'd get definitely usually had out between 5 and 10 was normal. So for the last part of this year. So I am right now starting to cut back again. Because of my goals for next year. So we'll see how this goes. Again, I love my library. I love the access to books that I'm not sure about. I don't know where that line is in my head that I have to get it from the library on certain books, and other books I just buy. I don't know what it is. But I am going to try to cut down on that because I want to read more of my own books this year. But I'm not going to make a specific library goal like this one, but this one failed, or at least for half the year. I did pretty good, and then the other half, not so much. Number 5 was Serious About Series. So I had a whole video on the series I was going to tackle. I will have an update on that in January. And then, as I said, I'm going to have a new video coming up next week. Yeah, that will probably this or the end of this. I don't know what day I'll have it up. I haven't figured that out yet. But I'll have one that says the new list of the books, the series that I want to tackle during that time. Again, Serious About Series is put on by Elizabeth at Lizzie Faye Loves Books. So this is the 3rd year they're doing it. It's the 2nd year I participated in. So anyway, I'll have a whole video on that another day or two or next week. I don't remember where on my schedule it is. Number 6 was to read my pre-order books from the years past and this year. And this year I did fairly okay. The only, there's 2 books that I got that I didn't read right off because just I haven't got to them. And then they're standalones. And then I have, I think 6 that came in that were part of series that I was collecting that I'm partway through or about to start. So I didn't do as well on this as I was hoping. I didn't go back and read a lot of the old pre-orders that I was hoping to do. So anyway, still something I need to work on is to read the books that come into my house. Anyway, so that was kind of a fail. Number 7 was to read 6 to 8 big books, 600 plus. So I didn't make this. I did read 4. I think I came up with 4 that were over 600. And then I read 3 of them that were rereads. So those didn't count, but I didn't make it to 6 to 8. I do hope this next year that I will read more bigger books, due to what my reading I want to do, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, I didn't do as good on the big books, but then every year I try to read big books and some of the series that I'm more likely to binge are shorter paranormal or urban fantasy series. So I have been kind of out of an epic fantasy mood. So I'm hoping I'm breaking out of that. And this next year will be the year of the big epic fantasies, but we will see. But anyway, I failed on that one. And then 8 was to read owned TBR, which means to limit pre-orders and buy local. And I did a lot better on this, but I still have a real tendency to buy online, just because I'll see somebody talk about a book or I'll think about something and I'll just buy it. And I do have the luxury with that. Books are where I spend my fun money. I haven't traveled as much in the last couple of years due to everything. And my travel with family wasn't for super long this summer, so it's not. So again, most of my money goes to books for my fun stuff. So but I want this year that I want it to be different than what I did this last year. This last year I did okay for a while, and then it didn't really go so well. So anyway, I did buy a lot of I did buy part of my pre-orders locally, but I didn't do enough of it. So anyway, so this year was a weird year for reading. I think it's mostly you have to look at it as my job changed, because again, a year ago we were bought out, and then it wasn't until mid-January that they told me what my new position would be and what was going to happen. And then I was kind of in flux for many months. So I think a lot of these were good goals. I still think that I stand by them, that they were ones I probably could have achieved. I just don't always achieve my goals. Anyway, it's just the way it is. Anyway, so wow, I'm already partway in it. So anyway, now I have my, these are just my rough. I'll probably write my new goals in here after I'm done. But these are my goals for 2023. So again, I'm going to keep the same. A couple of these are very much the same. The first couple ones is the Goodreads goal is 52 books. That's all I'm going to set it for when we get to do that, just because a book a week is all I care about. It's really, and again, if I start reading bigger books, then that might actually happen. So I just want to keep it at 52 so I don't have to think about it. I'm keeping my 50 pages per day, per month on average, just because that's what I put on every year. That's just my thing. 3 is to cull books June and December. Then again, those are just I have to do it by that month. I can do it earlier if I tend to do it, but I usually 2 times a year is when I go through and really try to get rid of some stuff. So as I said, I'm in the process of that now. 4 is I want to read what I own. So I've kind of combined this with limit my library use. and I want to get to where the library uses, the only reason I'm using my library is for hardbacks that I do not want to pay for, which again is a big thing that I do for the library. But they have to be authors I've already read right now. I want to, if it's a new author and I just want to take a chance on something, I can wait. I can put it on a list. I'm going to try to be better about writing down, hey, I want to try this book from this author, but I don't need to have it right now because I have a lot of books. Anyway, so I can put that that on a list. And then, but like some of my favorite authors like Simon R. Green, his books come out in hardback first, and I'll buy the paperback once it comes out, but I don't wait. Like I'll get it from the library, so I'm like supposed to have one here in the next couple weeks because a new book of his came out for his Ismail Jones series. Well, I buy them when they come out in paperback. So as I said, that's like my only, I want to limit my library physical books down to that, as well as then use the Libby app or, for for audiobooks, that for a book that maybe I have or I want to reread, because I've done a lot of rereading by audio this year, but there's a lot of nonfiction that I own that I want to listen to the audio, but I don't want to own it. I can just get it, if I can get it from my library, I'll do that. So we're going to try to do that. Anyway, so that's my goal for my library. We'll see what happens. And then again, what that means is I want to read more of the books that I want to read per month are my books that I own. So anyway, so number 5 is I'm going to do series about series again. So again, I'll have a video on that. Number 6 is as I said, I want to reiterate that I want to buy more locally. I have almost all my pre-orders for the next year already at my local used bookstore or local independent bookstore, new and used. Anyway, so they are, I've already got them for the first half of the year, all the books that I pre-ordered. So, I'm at least doing that. So I'm trying to break certain cycles. I did just recently join Barnes & Noble's membership, so I'm hoping to allow myself to go buy new books at Barnes & Noble's, so I don't have to buy everything online again. So it's kind of like that'll be like a trip. One weekend I can go, one day I can go and buy some books. And then again, I still have a lot of credit at my other used bookstore pals, so I want to use that, as well as once I take more books in for sale, hopefully I'll have more credit. So I want to just get better at making it more of an experience of going to get the books and not them just showing up on my doorstep. Now, I know that there's going to be certain ones that's the only way I can get it, like either through Amazon or eBay or Book Depository or Blackwell's or whatever, however I want to get them that way. But I want to reduce how much of that I'm actually having them mailed to me. Does that make sense? So anyway, that is my goal. We'll see how long that lasts. As I said, I got my pre-orders figured out. That was a big deal for me to make that switch. So, and again, it's just more steps to do it, but I think I want to have her get the money for that store anyway. But I do, the only ones, okay, so buying again is I want to try to cut down how much I buy. I buy probably 2 to 3 books more than I'm reading per year. It's kind of one of those things, like it feels like it. At least I'm buying over an extra book over compared to what I read. So, and I'm not kind of talking about rereads, I'm just talking new books to me. I will buy at least twice what I read. So I want to reduce that. So down to where I'm reading more of the stuff that's coming in, as well as reading my backlist. I have a huge backlist. So I want to, as I said, I'm going to try to cut down. I might try that. I know there's a lot of challenges going around about how you have to read, 150, 100 or 25 books, until you can buy a book. Well, that's just not going to work for me. It never has. Anytime you tell me I cannot buy a book, I will freak out and buy dozens. So what I want to do is I want to try to, again, I did try this, 3 or 4 years ago, that I tried to read 5 to 10 books before I could buy a book. And I want to make sure, I'm reading stuff off my shelf. So 10 might be too much for me to hold off, but I'm going to try at least 5 for, starting in January, that I have to read 5 of the books that I own on my shelf, or, you know, or audio, or, you know, like, or digitally, like something that I own. And I'm not talking Kindle Unlimited, because I still have that for a little bit longer. I'm probably going to cancel that in January, but I just want to make sure I'm reading books that I physically have, or audiobooks, or things that, you know, somehow that I have, that I've already paid money for or credits for. So maybe we're going to try that. Anyway, so that's my kind of loose buying goals. We'll see what happens. As I said, I do give myself a caveat that if I just read the first book of a series and I decide I need to read that, like I'm going to binge that series, then I'm going to let myself buy all the books, because I know that if I'm in that mood and I'm going to read those books right then, I'm just going to buy them. So that's, I only buy a few series a year that I'm like the whole series to binge, because I have a couple that I want this year to binge at some point. Like I have 3 of them that are already on standby, ready to go for when I'm ready. So I don't expect to do that very often, but once there's 1 or 2 series that could happen with, but we'll see. Anyway, so that's how that is. So number 7 is, I kind of want to try to get back to doing a try a chapter tag, at least once a month. If I mean, again, I don't know if I'm actually film all of them, but I want to do that, at least sit down on a weekend when I'm in between books and pick a genre and pick, you know, 3 or 4 books that I want to try the first chapters and decide about them. I have so many books that, you know, I can get rid of more and decide, no, this book is not for me, and I don't need to keep it on my shelf. So if I do more try chapters, I might be able to cull more. I still have a good 30, maybe more, urban fantasy, paranormal romance, first books in series that I have not tried yet. I want to get through those. I have so much historical fiction. I cannot even tell you, like way more than I even realized until I moved my books around and realized how much I had. So, and some of them are series and some are not, but I want to try some of more of them to make decisions on keeping them or not. And then I want, after I do the try chapter, that I pick the one that won, or the one that I felt like the most, and I have to read it within the next month. I can't be doing this where I have 12 books that I picked out of try chapter tags that I decided I was going to do for paranormal romance and urban fantasy. I still have all of them but 2. 2 of them I've read, but the rest of them that I decided I was going to keep are still in a stack on my shelf to start those series. I just read the first couple chapters and decided, oh, I'm interested, but then I didn't read them. So I want to make sure I'm picking up the book that I decide is, you know, number 1 and reading it within that month. And then I also want to go back and read those 12 that I have sitting that I want to try those. Now I know that starts a lot of series that are not on going to be about my series about series, but I need to get through these books. I got to decide if I'm going to read them or not. And I keep keeping them around. So anyway, so I'm going to try to use try a chapter again, to get through some stuff and maybe cull some more books. I mean, again, I have so many books that, you know, if things don't work out for me, it's okay. I'm gonna be fine. There's so many other books to try that if I don't like it, I can move on. And I don't have a problem DNFing, clearly. Anyway. And then the last thing is I'm going to restructure my TBRs. I'm not sure. Well, January will be kind of my first try at this, so we'll see how it goes. But I want to, I don't know if it's like, I want to try to get more genres into my TBRs. I do try every once in a while to read other things than fantasy and sci-fi and, you know, and some other, just in classics and things. But I want to make sure not that I'm hitting, like I have to have this kind, I have to have this kind, like I have to have a classic, I have to have a nonfiction, you know, I do want to read some of everything that I own. And I own, as I said, I think the only genre I don't own a whole lot of is contemporary, which we all know I have issues with. I do have some contemporary that are probably being try a chapter tags to get rid of some of those, but but I have so many different genres of fantasy and sci-fi and translated works, and which are the only contemporaries I really like to read. And then I have a lot of historical fiction, as I said, and a lot of classics and a lot of nonfiction and a lot of mysteries. So I have a lot of different genres. Oh, and a lot of romance in different genres. But I'm not picking up everything. Like I go and, I'm a mood reader. So what I want to try to do is that at least at my TBR, I pick a couple of books that'll make sure I'm hitting some of these other things. Like maybe, I have to have a book that has mystery in it, or maybe it's a historical mystery. So I hit two different genres. Maybe I want to read some nonfiction, and I might pick, you know, also I might pick, no, but it might be translated, or I might pick up a classic that's translated, or I might, what's the other, well, those are the main things. I want to try to get more translated works into my TBR. I want more nonfiction. This last year was just horrible. I used to do much better, and this last year I just didn't read much until the end of the year. So I want to make sure I get more nonfiction. I want to read more mysteries. I have not been reading mysteries. I mean, there's mysteries in a lot of the urban fantasy and stuff that I read. Like, they're built into those genres, but I have not been reading mysteries like that are mysteries. I mean, I don't know, that's the main reason for the story. So there's a lot of books I have that are the first book in series or in series I started. I just really like to get back to those. So I want to have a prompt to, hey, do you have a mystery somewhere in here? And then I also want, as I said, my historicals. I have so much historical fiction and historical romance. I want to make sure I am pulling from those as well. I have so many books, and I need to read more of them. So I want to make sure I'm prompting myself to do that. And I think is that everything? Yeah, so those are like kind of the 5 categories that I feel like sometimes I let go to the side. And because I'm definitely more of a fantasy sci-fi reader. You're more say fantasy than anything, but different versions of it. So I really want to get a lot of the other stuff back into my reading. So anyway, so I'm going to try to restructure them. So that is my goals. My recap for 2022 and my goals for 2023. What do you guys think? Any of these are too outrageous and I'm putting too much pressure on myself? Let me know. What are your guys' goals for 2023? Did you change up your goals a lot? As I said, most of mine are pretty similar because that's just how, that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to pressure myself. I'm not doing this for pressure. This is more to just see if I can bring more things into my reading, and maybe make it a little bit more diverse, and just things that I don't think about first and foremost when I go to pick a book. But I want to read those things. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to force myself to read anything. There are so many times I've tried to force myself to read stuff and it just doesn't work. So it's more of, I want to look at it as, what do I feel like reading? And can I hit, and many of these, components of the TBR. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, so let me know how, what your, if you have any really cool goals that you're going to do in 2023, because I'd be interested, and maybe I need to add more. So let me know. And as I said, that's it. And I will see you later. Bye.